The amount of young talent in the NHL nowadays is just incredible to think about. Not only these really young people who still have time to solidify themselves, but these people who are already stars in the league at such a young age. I mean, we have Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Hughes. There's just so much talent going around the league, and it's just at a crazy rate to think about. I feel like every new year there's new faces that either have already been in the league or are just new to the league that just like blow up out of nowhere, are all over social media, everything, and just the way that this league works just seems to work different than every other league. There's always new talent that's just boom right in your face, and it doesn't even have to be their rookie year. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the youngest of young star talent, the rookie of the year, the Calder Race. I have 5 people here that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about my top 5 personally. They all are in the top 10-ish for odds rankings and a lot of people's top 5. So that's what we'll be talking about. We're going to go over statistics, when they were drafted, and just kind of like a quick little diaps of kind of how they play, or at least how I see it that they play. And then at the end there, I'm going to put a ranking, maybe not my top 5 of these 5, but definitely my top 2 and which one my number 1 is. We're going to go over that at the end here. But it's just crazy to think about all of the talent in this league. And one thing I want to point out before we get rolling here is a rookie in the NHL is a lot different than a rookie in the NFL or the NBA. For that, the only way that you are not a rookie in the other 2 leagues is if you're injured pretty much your entire first year. Whereas in the NHL, you can get drafted at like 20 years old. You can go into college after being drafted, go into college, play for like 2 to 4 years, and now you're like 24, and then you can actually sign with the team on like 2-way contract pretty much, and play for their AHL team for another 2 years, and then be 26 when you finally enter the league as a rookie. Whereas any of the other teams, it's pretty much you get drafted and then you're on the team and you're playing with your team next year in training camp. Whereas in this, you might play with 2 other teams, sometimes even 3 other teams if you decide to go a different route like Canadian or Euro League and stuff like that. You might play with multiple different teams before you even actually play for the team that ended up drafting you, and that's why the NHL is very different. So that's what we're talking about. I just really want to make that obvious for people because we're going to be talking about someone that's a little older later on. Sorry if this a longer opening. My name is John. This is the Sports Advocate. If you enjoy this, go ahead and subscribe, like, dislike, give me some criticism down in the comments, and go ahead and tell me who your rookie of the year, your Calder Race winner is in the comments down below. But let's go and get right into this. Like I said, I have 5 people. Let's start right at the top with Lucas Raymond of the Red Wings. He plays left winger. He was 4th overall in 2020. He has 22 goals, 32 assists, and 54 points. He really started the season very, very hot. He looked incredible. He kind of slowed down for the most part later on in this year, but you cannot deny how well he has played. He looks phenomenal when he's on the ice. He is very confident in himself, and he plays a very I don't know how to describe it. It's not really flashy. It's just very confident. He can get his shots when he needs to get his shots. He is able to be nimble with the puck and move around and score when he needs to score. He's a top talent. He's one of the best in this rookie class, obviously if he's already top 5. But he plays a very, I don't want to say tactical game, but he's not really too far on either side of the spectrum. He's not too goal flashy. I mean, he has more assists than he has goals, but he's not really assist heavy. He just happens to find the open man. He's not too physical. He's just right in the middle, and I think that's kind of what works for him. I will say I'm not a huge fan of watching Red Wing games. I don't find them enjoyable. I will tune in if I see that they're playing a team that I like to watch, or if I see a really cool highlight, I'm obviously going to check them out. But I don't tune in a lot, so I don't have a lot of information on Lucas Raymond. And I I don't know, I'm not going to force myself to watch a team that I don't find enjoyable, whether they are one of the startup teams in the NHL or not. It's just, I'm not going to force myself to watch a game I don't want to unless they're going against someone that I enjoy watching, which is how I've tuned into most of these Red Wing games. Next up, we have Trevor Zegras, quite the opposite of Lucas Raymond. He went 9th overall in 2019. He has 20 goals, 34 assists, and 54 points. So their goals and assists are 2 apart, respectively. And they're very close, but they play very, very different games. The only thing, every other person on this video I'm going to be talking about, I wrote a sentence, a couple sentences. I wrote one word for Trevor Zegras. Flashy. Because that's what he is. He's very flashy. He's very in your face. He's very, I'm going to be the franchise star. He has his Michigans. He has 2 of them. He attempted a 3rd one not long ago. He did a Michigan around a teammate. He has his lacrosse pass over top. He's super flashy. I mean, he went to the All-Star game and had the blindfolded dodgeball. This man brings something to the NHL that I think it's been missing for a long time. It brings character, it brings passion, it brings skill, and it brings personality. And I feel like that's the one thing the NHL misses out that other sports don't, is the personality aspect. I feel like I never learn about people unless I am like directly tuning into them outside of the NHL. And that's something that I get from Trevor Zegras when just watching the games, when just watching his casual press conferences, is he has emotion, and it's huge. He is so flashy. He's so interesting to watch, and I genuinely will tune in anytime that either Vegas isn't playing or a playoff implication game's not going on. I will tune into the Ducks if they are playing. By the way, I didn't say to the top, Trevor Zegras plays for the Anaheim Ducks, and he is a center. He's so flashy. I enjoy watching him, and anytime I see highlights, I definitely click on them, and most of the time I have to watch them multiple times to even understand what's going on. But he is so crafty with it. His creativity is crazy, and the skill is perfectly even with his creativity. There's nothing that this guy could come up with in his brain that he couldn't be able to pull off that is gravitationally possible. And that's just crazy to think about. Next up, we have Mortis Seider. Sorry if I pronounced some names wrong. He plays for the Red Wings. Again, Red Wings have done a very good job drafting as of late. He is a defenseman, though. And I will say, for me, it's hard to grade defensemen alongside offensive players when you're talking about Rookie of the Year or anything, Hart Trophy, anything like that. I kind of wish, like the NFL, they had a Offensive Player of the Year and a Defensive Player of the Year, but it's kind of tough to do because in the NFL you have you have opposite sides of the ball. You're never playing with these guys at the same time unless it's on special teams, but that's completely different. So the offense players are playing offense against the other defense, and then vice versa. But in the NHL, you're on the ice rink at the same time. You're working together. You're getting assists off each other. You're working in unison, and that's what makes it tough to have your offensive and defensive players and compare them very well. But he was 6th overall in 2019. He has 5 goals, 40 assists, and 45 points total. He is very good at getting assists. He plays very well. Doesn't get a lot of goals, but you don't expect that from a defenseman. Like I said, that's why it's hard for me to compare the two, because they played very different aspects of the team. There's very few defensive players that are also huge offensive threats, scoring-wise, like goals. But he does a good job at finding the open teammate. He is arguably the best defender on this team, and I'd say by far he's the best defender in the entire draft of the 2019. So it's big props to him. He definitely deserves to be in this top 5. He definitely deserves to be in the Calder Race. He's going to be a future all-star. He's going to be very good in this league. But I will tell you, he is in my top 5. I wouldn't say he's last, but I will say it's really hard for me to judge him just because he plays very different games than he plays different games than what you're able to really watch if you're not tuning into every single game. And like I said, I'm not watching the Red Wings often. So like when the highlights come up, you're not seeing his highlights as often because he's playing a different form of game. So that's just one thing, and that's why it's hard for me to grade defensive men alongside these huge offensive threats. Next up, we have Tanner Jeannot of the Nashville Predators. He is a left winger. I am a big fan of this guy. He went undrafted. He has 24 goals, the most goals by any of these rookies that I listed. By the way, the 40 assists by Mortiz Seider is the most assists by any of these rookies I listed. Back to Tanner. 24 goals, 17 assists, and 41 points. He does have the least number of points. He's a very capable goal scorer, but I think the reason why I'm such a fan of him is his physicality. I love a physical player. They're fun to watch. He will get into people. I think he's number 2 in hits in the league. I think he's number 2 in penalty minutes. He will always go fight for the team. He's a great nickname. I love nicknames. If you don't know that about me, in any sport, I love nicknames. His nickname fits him, and it works well with his history. He's from Oxbow. He's very physical, and his nickname is Oxbow Ox, the Oxbow Ox. That's an incredible nickname. Ox is very strong, very, very physical, get into things, and using his hometown along with his description of how he plays to make a nickname is incredible, and it fits him so well because he is such a physical player, and I am a huge fan of him. Whenever I tune into a Predators game and I see him on the ice, I am watching him. Whether he has the puck in his hand or not, I'm normally trying to track him just because it's so fun to watch him lay a hit on somebody and all that stuff. He's so enjoyable to watch. Lastly, my 5th person on my top 5 Rookie of the Years. Sorry if I'm going by really fast, but I know if I took like 5 minutes on each of these, video would be so long. Lastly, we have Michael Bunting of the Maple Leafs, another left winger. There's a lot of great left wing talent in this rookie class, which is great, and that's kind of expected, especially for me as someone who likes offensive in these younger players and these young rookies. I'm going to have a lot of these forwards and wingers, and that's exactly what I have here. But I think all of these people that I did list are definitely in top 10, top 5 for a lot of people. He was drafted in the 4th round in 2014. He is 26 years old, and that's why I brought it up at the top. So he's 26. He's a lot older than the rest of these guys. He has 20 goals, 37 assists, and 57 points. He has the most points by any of these rookies. Now, that's a big contributor to him having Austin Matthews on the team and a Maple Leafs team that's very good. The only other team that's really doing well on this list right here is the Predators. So there's only 2 rookies that are even in a team that is in the playoffs, and that's expected, especially when you're getting drafted. If you're good, you're getting drafted early on in the draft, and if you're drafted that early, you're expected to be a Rookie of the Year caliber player. So you're going to be on a bad team, and it's really expected. But like I said, 20 goals, 37 assists, 57 points, the most points. He is very good. I do watch a lot of Maple Leafs games. He does the dirty work. And when I say I watch a lot of Maple Leaf games, I pretty much watch all their highlights because Austin Matthews lately has been doing so well. I'm a Vegas fan, not a Maple Leafs fan, but nonetheless, Austin Matthews is so fun to watch. And because Austin Matthews is so fun to watch, I often see Michael Bunting play a lot. And he is very good at doing the dirty work, whether it's getting into the boards to go get a puck. He's great in all 3 facets of the game, defense, neutral zone, and offense. Obviously, 57 points. That is great by any player, let alone a rookie. So offensively, he's very good in the neutral zone. He's always able to move freely, find the open man, get a fast break, a breakout, transition, whatever it's called, all that stuff. And defensively, I feel like he doesn't get noticed as well. He's quite good defensively. He truly is, and obviously he's not a defenseman, so you're not paying attention to that as much. But he's quite well at it. He does a great job at covering his man and getting in the way of shots, not blocking shots, but kind of making it difficult to find the open shot around him and all that stuff. And I find him truly enjoyable to watch in very different ways. Like I said, there's so many good rookies, and they're so good at different things and so enjoyable to watch for different reasons. Zegras, very flashy. Tanner, very physical. And Michael Bunting, just a great overall player. So I think it's time to get into rankings. And one thing I want to put in here real quick before we get into rankings, sorry to cut you off right here. I'm going to make this a series. I'm going to have this video. I'm going to have the Hart Memorial, or the MVP. I'm going to have the Vezina, the goalie of the year, and I might throw in another one. I'm not sure on that yet. But this is going to be a series where I talk about NHL awards, and it will likely come out throughout this week and the next week possibly, since it's already later in the week. But I'm a very big fan of the NHL. I watch a lot of games. I used to watch way more NBA, but lately I've seemed to watch more NHL. I mean, I didn't watch any playing games because I was watching NHL games, except for when there was only one game during the day of NHL. Then I watched the basketball. But I'm a huge NHL fan, so I feel like I have enough knowledge to put some sort of input. Obviously, I don't have a vote, but I can put some sort of input, try to lend knowledge or give you a different take on things than all these really, really high-up people that are in the actual business, and their takes are very grounded and just like directly how good is this player on paper is oftentimes what they graded on, whereas I'm grading on the visuals and then I look at the stats after, because both sides are really important. But I will have a video on the MVP and the goalie of the year, and those will be coming up soon. But my gradings, who is my, like I said, I don't want to put these all in top 5 because it's tough to put them all in top 5. I think I'm going to do top 2, but let me just say something. If I had to put someone at 5, it'd probably be Sider, because I'm not great at grading defensive men. He doesn't deserve to be that low, I don't believe. But I just don't know how to grade them. Tanner Jeannot would probably be 3 if it was just my bias. I will not put him at 3, but his physicality, the way he plays is so enjoyable to watch. He deserves to be in my top 5 at least. Maybe not yours, but he definitely deserves to be mine because how I enjoy to watch the game be played. And who I think would actually be 3rd would be Michael Bunting. He's just great all over the ice. Yes, he plays for a great team. One thing I want to point out, I really thought about putting plus-minus stats on here. But like I said, if you're getting drafted early, you're probably in a bad team. And it would have really swayed things. Like Michael Bunting's plus-minus would have been very good, but you would look at like Lucas Raymond's would have been negative, and it would have really swayed the argument pretty quick just because he's not in a good team, so they're going to have more goals scored against them. And I didn't want that to be a factor in the matter, so I left plus-minus out. But I think Michael Bunting would be my 3rd. He plays very good hockey all over. He's very, very talented, and I think he still will continue to be talented, but he's no Kirill Kaprizov. He's no old rookie who's going to come in and dominate the league and win Rookie of the Year. He did not run away with it for me at all. He's 3rd for me. Lucas Raymond and Trevor Zegras are my 1 and 2. Not in that order. We will talk about that in 1 second. I'm not even going to ramble. My number 1 is Trevor Zegras. He is so flashy. I love it. He brings character to the league. His talent is immense. He's going to do well for a very long time. I don't really have to explain it. You could pretty much put any of these guys as your number 1, and I would not be against it. Trevor Zegras is mine because what he can bring to the NHL on a different level than other people already have brought. That's why he's my number 1. Lucas Raymond's my 2 because he plays a very different game, and also because I was not able to watch him as much as I probably should have because the Red Wings aren't enjoyable for me to watch. But I think Trevor Zegras ran away with this. I mean, they have the same number of points. Their assists and goals are just different by 2, with Lucas Raymond having 22 goals, Trevor Zegras has 20, and then 32 and 34. They both have 54 points. They were both drafted very high overall in the past 2 years. They're both very good for their team. They're both probably going to be all-stars. They're both some of the top players on their team in their respective positions. But I'm giving it to Trevor Zegras the slight edge just because how flashy he is. I don't think I need to explain this much more. And so I'm not. Trevor Zegras is my Calder winner, my Rookie of the Year, and it's that simple for me. Go ahead and comment down below who you think it is and what your reasoning is, because it could be so many different people. The amount of young talent in this league is just crazy to think about. I love hockey for that reason. I mean, you look at the NFL, there's a lot of great young talent, but it's normally at like 3 positions. You look at any of these young players in the NHL, they could be at any position. They could just be great. One key thing I want to bring up, I did not put any goalie in this Rookie of the Year race. I wish that goalie Rookie of the Year had a different category, same way the Vezina does. I just think it'd work a whole lot better. It's very hard to grade them alongside these guys. Just wanted to put that out there real quick. But, yeah, like I said, I will have a series on this with the Hart Memorial and the Vezina coming up here in the next few days. Go ahead and check those out. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know when they come out. I would really appreciate that. Give me a like, give me a dislike. Do whatever you got to do that makes you happy, because it really does show me that my videos are getting out there, not only, but also gives me something to work on. Give me some criticisms down below, and comment who you think should have won it, who you think should win it, because it hasn't happened yet. And yeah, as always, I hope I taught you something. I hope I put a smile on your face. Hope I made you laugh. This is something that's really important in my day, affecting someone else's life. And lastly, you guys all be safe out there.